Now, I think we need to understand that what we're watching here right now is not about the central bank economy. It's about the transition. We've been living in a central bank economy since 1913. Yes, it's gotten worse as time went on. When we hit World War II, the system changed into Bretton Woods. In the 70s, we then went to full fiat. 2008, 2009, we started the fiat with stimulus and complete control of the economic system. And we need to remember that the deep state, the central bank, the elite, they need to control the system because the system would then crash if they weren't controlling it. So they needed to manipulate everything. And when I say manipulate, I mean they needed to manipulate the precious metals market, the stock market, the derivative market, the unemployment numbers. All this has been manipulated for quite a while now. We've been talking about this for quite a while. And we need to understand that Trump and the Patriots, they knew that this was a manipulated system. Now, they could have done one or two things. They could have come in when Trump was elected and said, okay, America, the world, the system is manipulated. What we're going to do is we're going to move this system from this manipulated central bank and move it into sound money. What do you think would have happened at that point? Do you think it would have been an easy transition? Do you think we would have just transitioned and everything would have been fine? No. Why not? Because it would have taken the U.S. and it would have crashed the entire system, put the system into chaos. The deep state was still in power. They had all the swamp creatures in position, and everything would have been blamed on Trump. Trump would have been removed. That's why when he came into office, he knew, because of the plan, that we just couldn't take the system and transition it into a new system and get rid of the central bank. Because those individuals that were in control at the time, and remember, the swamp is deep and wide, it would have been open field day on Trump, his administration. I don't even think they would have lasted for a year. And actually, if you remember, who said that? Well, mainstream media was out there. George Soros was out there saying that this is a phenomenon. I don't think Trump is going to be in office for more than a year. Well, here we are. We're coming up to the next elections. Trump, the Patriots, they understood that this was much larger than anyone really knew. Plus, they put a plan in place. They knew that they needed to remove the blocks. They needed to remove certain individuals. Because with these individuals in the way, and I'm talking about the FBI, the CIA, deep state operatives, many of the people in different agencies, nothing could get done, especially with Congress. That's another problem all in itself. The economy was the key to everything, because that is one place where everyone comes together. If the economy is strong and people have jobs and the wages are going up and people feel confident in their jobs, they are getting a pension, they're able to shop, they're able to go on vacation. Doesn't matter what party you're with, doesn't matter if you're angry. That's one place where people will come together. Trump, the Patriots, they knew this. They knew the economy was key. And so did the deep state. So did the central bank. Central bank has known this for a very long time. They knew if they can control the economy, control the issuance of currency, control the debt, they have complete control. They can keep the people enslaved. So what Trump and the Patriots have done, and this is not about the central bank economy, Trump, he needed to use the system that we're in today. It's almost like the Matrix. Yes, you can go out and destroy it, but how many people would die if you really think about it in the Matrix, because they were all hooked to the Matrix, and it would be a complete disaster. So you had to infiltrate the entire system from within. It's almost like what Obama, Hillary Clinton, the deep state was doing with the country. They were pushing a certain agenda and coming at us through the back door. Trump is actually doing the same thing with the economy and with everything else. If you really think about it, during this entire time since he's been president, the recent Bitcoin halving event caused a lot of confusion out there. Nobody really knew what was going to happen. Some people said that it was going to go to $100,000. Others said it would collapse. In the end, it gained around 30% since the start of the year. They are one of a handful of companies in the U.S. who do crypto IRAs. Noble Bitcoin also slashed their own fees on Bitcoin IRA and 401k deals, along with a waiver of their first-year fees for anyone putting in over $20,000. Call them at 877-646-5347 and tell them that X22 Report sent you, or click the link below. What has he been doing? He's been dismantling the globalist system piece by piece, dismantling everything the deep state has put into place, everything the central bank has put into place. And you can see this. You can see that the TPP didn't go through. You can see that he wanted to get rid of NAFTA, but that was tied up in Congress. I believe that's going to be next. The only way he could, shift it and make it a positive trade deal is to renegotiate it. And that's exactly what he did. He renegotiated it. He made a deal with Mexico and Canada, and he was able to make a very strong North American manufacturing powerhouse. And moving forward, because of the pandemic and other things, he was able to create new trade deals. He put pressure on China with tariffs. He was able to bring back medical manufacturing here to the United States. And all of this was being done throughout his presidency. He was removing the back end while keeping their illusion, the central bank illusion, the mainstream media illusion, the deep state illusion alive. Because he has to play within the system. Remember, he's not just doing this, and I'm not just talking about him, I'm talking about the rest in his administration. He's not just doing this to, let's win the next election. He's doing this to bring us out of this illusion. And this is why you see all of this being done. Now, when he moves towards the central bank, when he decides, okay, I have removed as much of the globalist system as I can. I moved the Federal Reserve into the Treasury. I created a second stream of income through the Federal Reserve into the Treasury. I did as much as I possibly could to soften the blow when we transition. Now, does this mean the transition is not going to hurt? No. Look what we saw during the pandemic when people were not working, when people weren't making an income, when the market went down a little bit, people freaked out. The same thing is going to happen when we go through this major transition. And I think what he had to do was he had to remove as many of the blocks, as many of the things that were going to get in the way to move us to the next phase. And I do believe this is exactly where we're headed. We're moving to the next phase. The next phase, once he's elected, is when he goes after the big kahuna, and that is the central bank system. The central bank system, it's not just here in the United States. The central bank system is throughout the world. Q has given us posts on this, and we already know this, that there's private Western central banks in almost every single country today. We also have the IMF, the BIS, we have the EU, the Rothschilds sitting on top. So this mission is not just, let's get rid of the Federal Reserve and everything will be fine. Everything is interconnected. The central bank needs to be eradicated around the world. It just can't be a one-off thing. Yes, back when Andrew Jackson was president, it was much easier. He ran on the platform of getting rid of the central bank. He got rid of the central bank. Yes, they tried to kill him. It didn't work. And he was able to get rid of the central bank. And this is why Trump has Andrew Jackson hanging on the wall in his office. This time around, because the central bank was allowed to grow since 1913, get bigger during Bretton Woods in right after World War II, get even larger after 71, get even larger after 2008. And during this whole time, they had other main central banks pop up, the IMF, the EU, the BIS, and the rest, and they've just grown over time. This is going to be a much larger mission. Now, the only way to attack the central bank, the only way to go after them is to have a strong base, not dependent on their globalist central bank system. So what is Trump doing? So we're not dependent on the globalist central bank system. Why do you think he's reworking the trade deals? Why do you think he's going up against the World Trade Organization and the WHO and other globalist organizations? Why do you think at the UN he told the people in the audience in the world that the globalist days, they are coming to an end? Why do you think he's deregulating? Why do you think he's bringing manufacturing back to the U.S.? Why do you think he's breaking up the supply chains in China? Why do you think he wants to make a deal with the U.K. once they completely separate themselves from the EU? And this is just the beginning. Why does he want to place Judy Shelton on the board of the Fed? Why did he bring the Fed into the Treasury so he could control it? Why did he renegotiate NAFTA and make the USMCA? All of these things were pieces of the puzzle. All of these things were to help this system and build a foundation that would be strong enough to move to the next level. Is he finished? No. The next part of this is getting the people back up on their feet from this pandemic, helping the small businesses. Now he has the chance to go ahead and help each and every one of these businesses. Why? Well, it's a national emergency. He has the Defense Production Act. He has the ability to say we need more stimulus. He can look at the economy and say, because of the pandemic, we need to get rid of that regulation, get rid of that tax problem. We need to get rid of this and that. He has the ability to do all this. He has the ability to push Congress to say we need the biggest infrastructure bill that we've ever seen. We need to borrow trillions. Remember, the plan is not to just break away from the central bank. The plan is to run the central bank into the ground. Not just the Fed, but the rest of the central banks across the world. Because remember, their system is at its end stage. Their system is just filled with debt. Each and every one of the countries, they're going to have a problem. The debt is piling on. It's not going away. It was never to pay off the debt. It was never to say, hey, you know something? Let's just get rid of the central bank. We'll make this gigantic gold coin and we'll just use it and we'll just pay them off. This was about destroying them. This was about driving them to extinction. And the only way to do this is to build the system up. Build the system up enough to compete and go against the central bank system. And this is exactly what he's doing. This is not about the central bank system with the stock market, the central bank system with the unemployment numbers, with the GDP numbers, with borrowing and the derivative market. This is about shifting away from all of that. Shifting to a sound money system which is backed by the people, where we have a strong manufacturing base, where we have sound money, where we have statistics that are not manipulated, where we have precious metals where they can move up and down without manipulation, where we have other markets that are not manipulated by a private Western central bank. This is about returning the power to the people. How do you return the power to the people? You give them a strong economic system. Once the people have a strong economic system, they can call the shots. They feel confident. They feel empowered at every level. And at this point, the people are able to take back their power. And once the people have the power, they don't want it to disappear. They want to keep it because they know they're in control now. And this is one thing where everyone can get behind. because everyone sees it the same way. I want a good job. I want to make a good living. I don't want to be in debt. I want to support my family. And anything that comes after that is just part of a strong economy. This is why Trump and the Patriots are preparing to transition the entire system. And the central bank system, that will be no more. It's about transitioning us away from a system that does not benefit the people. This is what this is all about. And that's where we're headed.